everybody, welcome back to another episode of Against the Grain. Today with me here is our special guest, Chris from Holistic Painting. Chris, thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, right on. So we're about to dive in here. So kind of tell me a little bit about yourself, like your journey. How'd you get started in the painting industry?
Well, I've been painting since I was a kid, a little baby. And even when growing up, we would move a lot. And I think we moved like 68 something times before I was ever even 16.
Jeez.
Yeah, one thing that goes into, and I'm sure anybody that's ever moved, the first thing that anybody does really is paint their house to make it their own. In our case, most of the places were dirty, and who knows, we didn't have a lot of money. So who had to volunteer to help? That was me. So yeah, so by the time I was 16, I'd have probably already put my hands on 68 different places, at least, because my mom would repaint everything. She would, that was the first thing she'd do. She'd go and get the cheapest paint she could, of course, because we didn't have much money, and she would paint everything.
But it made a huge difference, right? Because it felt like every house was your own, right?
Absolutely, and that was real important to my mom. She worked really hard for the places that we did live, and even when they were scrappers and junk heaps, or even for the little moment that I was in the projects, it was still like, hey, no matter what, no matter how poor we are or how much money we got, we're gonna make it our own. We're gonna make it a home and be comfortable and live in it. And it was awesome. I loved doing it. Totally loved doing it. I liked the after effect. I liked actually getting paint all over me.
Yeah.
I have paint all over me and everything I own. Then later on, I became very artistically inclined.
Yeah, so we talked about that earlier, and you said what a lot of people don't know is you're actually an artist.
Yeah, artist and designer. Yeah.
I want to share a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I create large-scale art. And designer stuff, wall murals, not necessarily painted wall murals, though I can do some really insane faux finishes, things that might really intrigue some people. I bring that in house painting, but fine art wise, I work in oils. I can make oil paint.
Do you mix your paint?
I mix. As far as house painting goes, artistically, for art paint, let's deal with that. Yes, I can mix my own oils. I used to do that a lot when I had time to. I would actually make my own oil paint out of pure pigment and safflower or linseed oil and grind them and do it. I've made my own watercolor paints and my own tempera paints, as well as stretch my own canvases, prime them to master craftsmanship. I basically spent my life studying all the great masters and began duplicating their abilities. So I got my hands on really finite paintbrushes early on. I developed quite a collection of artwork over the years. I'm reaching into the thousands of pieces. A lot of it now is photography and design, where I mix, my artwork and create things for homeowners or stuff of that nature to kind of fit in with their scheme of things.
Yeah, it definitely brings a very unique perspective and additional value.
Yeah, when you mix art and detail and the energy and the caring that goes into creating a masterpiece in art, something that's going to last forever. And that's always been my concept as an artist, is to make things last forever. So like even with our photography and the things we print, we make them to last forever, is the idea. So because then it's cherished, it comes from my being, you're representing it as your being, and then it should be. And so bringing that into house painting is just another step. We can get.
Yeah, you're not like one of those kind of production painters. You guys talk to me a little bit about like holistic painting. What sets you apart? You may even do production painting.
Yeah, we're producers.
Talk to me about what separates holistic painting.
Well, we're holistic, and that's our name, and we mean it by definition. I'm kind of a literalist. Kind of, this is what things are, and this is what we mean by it, now stand by it.
Yeah.
Holistic, by definition, is basically looking at the whole person, the whole house, the whole situation, and treating every part of it as though it's a part of that whole. So when we're approaching a painting situation, even if it's production, because we are production quality painters and production efficient, if not even more efficient, simply because we're looking at the whole and we're considering that whole environment. So even if you're a contractor and you are doing spec homes or you're doing a track project, now we're not equipped to do, a whole huge subdivision all at once where you got 8 homes going up and need to be painted that week.
Right.
That's not us right now. But you're doing 7 or 8 and you got a couple going up that week ready to be painted, and you need to have everything in your whole project tracked, because then we base the project upon you, the contractor. Mm-hmm. We look at the whole thing that you need to do, including all your other contractors and the flow of the workflow and what needs to be done from start to finish. We're not just going in there and then spray painting everything and blah, and then go and then forget about all the touch up and all the details and all the efficiency required in that and etc. But we also look at the homeowner perspective that's going to be buying the home and what the paint's going to be like 3 years later. Mm-hmm. And we consider all of that. Our prices can still be competitive, yet we're also giving a paint job that's going to last not just 1 year or 2 years like a lot of painters are going to do. It's going to last still that 10, 20 years. And so the homeowners buying it can still buy with confidence. That's going to end up helping your end game, because you can sell the paint job done right and still be within your budget for the paint job.
Right. So you guys have been able to perfect the process of doing, high quality at a volume, but because you're efficient.
Right. And as a fine artist, I've learned lots of nifty tricks. More than that, even in the house painting, like in my journey to house painting as a professional, I knew, and this is maybe 6 years ago, I knew I'm going to be a house painter. I'm going to take my fine art, because I wanted to do what I was doing as an artist bigger and perfect. And I knew the best way to do that was to paint houses. If I could paint houses, and I was inspired by great house painters. I mean, I would look at things and go into places and be like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah, like you go into certain parts of Portland, like those 1920 homes that have 6 different trim colors.
Yeah, and you touch the banister and it's just like liquid butter smooth, or like glass, and you get seamless custom created wallpapers moving, and then and I'm like, I can do that. If I can do that and I do this and I bring the two together, wowza.
Yeah, or make some music for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So talk to me. What challenges do you see in the industry right now? I mean, you've been in it for a little bit, but let's talk about kind of the state of the industry. What challenges do you see?
Well, see and experience, there's a few, but they're kind of standard. I don't know if they're growing. I hope they're getting better, and I'm hoping maybe Toolbelt can be one of those platforms that help make it a little bit better. Some of the challenges that I face, and I'm imagining even a lot of builders and other secure painting companies face, is quality help and being able to weed through all of that. It's a costly expense, and I think a lot of people, even people that are applying for jobs, don't really realize the cost money-wise and effort and energy it takes to hire somebody and to trust you. So there's a little bit of, it can be difficult weeding through people being sincere and honest as to what their skill set is, or even really knowing. Mm-hmm. I find a lot of people who are like, yeah, I'm a painter, I'm a skilled painter, I'm this and that, and this is my experience, and I gotta dig even deeper. And I often have been finding, as I analyze it more, and it's kind of my job to analyze that stuff so that we can be, since we are a small company, but yet aiming at being a company, we're company oriented, not just a biz, then I got to look at all of that stuff. And I'm finding it seems like even a lot of painters with all their skills and experience coming into the workforce and don't really know that there is a difference between painting and application and paint adhesion and industry standards and the codes that go along with it.
Right.
And that there's many different ways to do it, but really there's also the way that it's done by industry standards set by the PCA, Painting Contractors Association. And as members, we kind of go and use all of those resources.
Have you seen a talent drop off, like from like when you came in to now? Like, are the people coming up through the ranks as talented or as driven, or?
Well, I don't know, because we're new as a company. I'm not new to painting, and I've been doing it a while. I'm really good at my job. Yeah. And but as a company, we are new. So as we're getting into the hiring process, and we're doing it pretty extensively now, we are hiring. I've had to, because I've had some experiences where it was like, oh my goodness, this is the 10th person in 3 weeks, and we can't get a journeyman that's a journeyman. And the journeyman's that
Why
we
is
might...
that? Like, is there a lot of pretenders, or like people just say?
Well, I know last season we talked to the unemployment agency, and we were hiring extensively.
Yeah, talk to me. So what channels
Not
do you guys
Holistic,
use?
but another company.
Right, but what channels do most contractors use to find like either crews or labor right now? I mean,
A lot of times it's Craigslist. You can also get employment help for if you're looking for apprentices or things of that nature, and you got a bit of a filtering through the unemployment agency. They have a thing for contractors where you just simply hook up. It doesn't cost anything. And then there are people looking for jobs that people say that are on unemployment assistance, et cetera, et cetera. And but there are some people that are actually actively looking for long-term work that may not know the painting trade, but want to get into it or get into something.
so essentially it's all word of mouth right now.
Otherwise, it's word of mouth. A lot of it, like with established high-end painting companies, I'm assuming, and for some of my colleagues who have told me a little bit about it, it can be really difficult for them too. But it's some of that's often word of mouth. You know, you got a friend who has a friend in Idaho who's moving here to Portland and is a great painter. I know one painting company, and they have a person that's been painting with them now for 4 years. He's their main guy. He's really good, efficient, works hard, and really good. He's a painter and a career painter, and he's probably going to be doing it. He's good at his job, and he probably gets paid well. And but it was one of those situations. Guy was working, he's moving over here, whatever. That's a good situation. I think a lot of established companies have the advantage over companies like us that are new, that they've been here already rock solid for 25 years, 30 years.
So guys look at them as, well, okay, you've been in business for 10 plus years or even 5 plus years, whatever. These people are known for having consistent work.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go there. Is that like what's attractive?
What do you
consistent work, or like what makes those?
I think what's attractive there, because I think they have the same difficulty getting new help. But most of those companies have one thing in common. They've had the same guys there for 16 and 20 years. Some of the great companies offer, even retirement benefits and things that are impressive. Yeah. But they were able to get workers at the time before all the media craze, when workers were workers. When I went out to get a job, it was word of mouth. It was prove my proof, or you taught me how to paint.
Rep your work.
Yeah, or you taught me how to paint. Like when I started painting, house painting, I went in as an apprentice, and I had to
earn your stripes. Do you think a lot of people pay their dues now, or do people just
you're gonna make it through?
Or do people just, like young people, do they just expect, I need to be paid $30 an hour?
I think I get a lot of that.
You get a lot of that.
Mm-hmm. I get a lot of that. And then at the end of the day, I'm like, hey, it's more than I make. And a lot of times, and it's not that way. But I think also, I think a lot of times we end up settling. And I think the quality of our work at times...
Because of time constraints. Right?
Absolutely. So we end up settling. It's like, okay, just cut all those corners. We can't deal with it. We got to get out of here. Because when you got like 4 guys on a field, each of them, and they're all demanding more and more and more and more money, okay? And knowing that I ain't gonna be able to find anybody better than them because ain't nobody really knocking on the door. People aren't really banging on the doors to become a painter because the wages that we can pay are not as good as becoming an electrician or as good as becoming even a plumber or a carpenter. And so we can't really compete with that. And so we end up having to settle. And I think our work ends up settling, and on the overall settles. We need to move faster and faster and faster, use cheaper and cheaper product, skimp out on our caulking, you know, because it takes a little bit of time to actually seal a home.
Right.
For sealing purposes. Now, just to seal it to make a little facade and get some color on there, sure, you can just, you know, might as well use a magic marker.
Yeah. So how do you think Toolbelt, you know, from your experience already utilizing the platform, how do you believe Toolbelt's going to help, you know, kind of solve some challenges for your company, and just kind of talk to us about your experience?
Well, it's helped me huge so far. We do some work, subs as a sub, in a different way. Like, you know, we come full contracts and we can represent your brand with all of your quality stuff. And I'm talking higher end companies.
Yep.
Okay. Not just the ones doing a $2 million home, but the ones doing a $30,000 finish in a $2 million home. We can produce those results with the same customer service, the same care, etc. So if you got that overflow and you want a brand that's going to be like, okay, these guys are, I know I can put my name on the referral or whatever it is, so we can get that. But so I've gotten some of those jobs, and as a result of getting a couple of projects already, the same company has given me like 4 more, so now I've done 5 projects for them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome.
So yeah, and that's kind of what we're really about here on Toolbelt, is fostering new relationships, right? Like, you know, ideally we'd love every new project to come through our platform, but the fact that you're able to get a couple off here, develop a great relationship, and now you've got 5 more, I mean, that's awesome. But, you know, you've actually used the platform both ways. I saw you actually posted a position.
I did.
And we're looking for
a helper. So yeah, because we're looking to hire, and more of somebody to in that hiring, because I'm a work animal, and so, you know, I can do a lot of painting, and I don't mind doing it. I'm also really busy because I got a lot of things to do, but
a lot of irons.
Yeah. So, but as we move forward, we got some things coming up that I'm hoping put us in a right position. But we've been looking to hire somebody that we can embrace. So I had this project and a couple of them trying to get the last couple of exteriors that could probably be gotten in the right way. You know, we've had to make some change up on the material we're using to
adapt for the
yeah. And there are products for this climate where they're really, really great for it. And I always look forward to those opportunities. I can take my time a little bit, produce some really nice finishes if the weather's, you know, right. And I don't have to worry about the heat and the sun beating down and move really fast. You know, it's just right now, actually, for an exterior, it's just right to get a perfect
especially
finish.
Temperature. Yeah,
because the paint's gonna give plenty of time to lay out, and you're gonna be able to more mist it. You don't have to go crazy. So the house I'm doing now is gonna be really pop.
Well, that's exciting. I'm glad. First off, I'm glad that you've been able to, you know, use Toolbelt to its fullest capacity, and the fact that you're still willing to like utilize it as a way to grow your business.
I've been making a lot of contacts with other contractors, and what I'm really hoping out of doing that is, okay, there's a lot of us, you know, people that you're hiring work out to, and we already know, all of us know, it's not a secret, there are hundreds of painters that are ain'ters, and I don't know who they are, and I know I fix a lot of their work. I fix a whole lot. I'm fixing their work now. It's basically all the projects, but it's to my advantage because, not being down, I do think that there are reasons for that, and we've just been working hard to not have to make those reasons prevalent. So if that means you have my undivided attention on any project you do, have my undivided attention, then we're able to get past that. But I'm hoping that with Tool Belt, I'll be able to weed through some great workers, be able to make contact with somebody that wants to embrace a holistic approach to painting, which is no more than just industry standard PCA guidelines for how
Just do your job.
Doing my job. And get down the nitty gritty. I think we're going to have some amazing artistic stuff and creative things to be able to do. I'm hoping also contractors will be able to weed through and be like, wait a minute, there's more to getting my track homes painted than just a blow and go guy who was working as a lead for a big company or something. I'm not saying they're not good, but it was the operations manager that actually made the whole thing come together. And that's what I am, and we're starting off that way. And I think we'll move forward, and I'm hoping that we're gonna have a great year and a good relationship, and I think Tool Belt's gonna be a great part of that. And I'm looking forward to, seeing it go.
Well, we're really excited to have you on the platform. I really feel like you've already embodied everything that we're hoping all contractors get a chance to utilize. You can find work and you can also find crews. So everyone, if you are a contractor, builder, painter, remodeler, homeowner, and you need some paint work done, you really need to hit up Chris and Holistic Painting. Chris, you want to give a shout out to your website and how people can find you?
Yeah, you can come check us out and call us anytime. Our phone number is 503-607-9394. Check out our website, holisticpainting.com, which is a work in progress. We're going to have huge amounts of information and resources for contractors and homeowners to let you know all the PCA stuff and what we do and other things. Look out for us creatively, as we can bring a lot of creative finishes to it. But also in January 3rd through 5th, at the Portland Build, Remodel, and Landscape show happening at the Convention Center. We'll have a booth there, and you'll be able to check out lots of different kinds of finishes, different kinds of exotic paints, and very solid state paints and materials that we use. And check that out. We'll be at booth 411. But I'm also doing Holistic Paintings being featured in a 2-day seminar. So we'll be part 1 and part 2 of preparing your home for paint. So come check out the seminar. It's be basically about 45 minutes as I discuss sealing and repairing your home for paint and the proper things to do and not to do, what to caulk, what not to caulk, and great products that we like to use. And then part 2 is washing and cleaning your home. It's often misconceived. Water ain't enough, and what to actually do, and our focus on that's going to be basically homes that were built in the past 20 years, because there's a lot of misconceptions about paint adhesion. So we're going to focus on paint adhesion and primers and priming. So I think it'll be very informative, and you'll get an in-depth look there. So come out and see us there. I think we go on at 1 o'clock on Saturday and 1 o'clock on Sunday as well.
Right on. That's January 3rd through the 5th at 1 o'clock. If for any more details, please hit up Chris at Holistic Painting. Thank you guys again for tuning in to another episode of Against the Grain, and we'll see you back next week.